Hey everybody, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in to the HD podcast. This is Hunter,
This is Danny Urbina.
and we are just starting this first episode. A little bit of background on this episode. We're gonna go over a lot of different topics about a lot of different things. We're both 21 years old, sales entrepreneurs, using the internet to our advantage. What else?
We're doing things that successful people who are putting a bunch of information out there, we're actually doing what they're saying they did, and we're saving ourselves a bunch of time and mistakes. Obviously, you want to. Will Smith said this pretty good. You want to fail early, fast, and often. We're doing that, but we're not the ones doing the failure. We're actually learning from people who made the mistakes,
Right.
and are putting the info out there so that we, smarter people who are taking advantage of it, don't have to.
Right. So, just to get started, we have some base guidelines. I mean, where did we start? We'll kind of go and get into where we came about and where this whole kind of mindset took off. I mean, one day I was just sitting watching YouTube videos like every other guy in their early 20s in this day and age, and I was like, "Hey, Danny, why don't we start a podcast, bro?" Just out of nowhere. And based off what we've been through in the past like 3 years or so, I mean, it's been all over the place as far as career path, mindset, and what we came to realize is that the biggest thing to do was to just jump into it, was to get started and start doing what you've been thinking about. And it all started, I mean, was it 2 years ago? You bought that Ty Lopez course?
Yeah, well, it started really after high school when I started looking a lot into business. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, which pretty much changed how I looked at the business side and personal finance in general. And read that book, kind of got into business, got into real estate investing, went to some courses, pretty young, 18, 19. And ended up buying a Tai Lopez social media course. We dabbled into it. We didn't get too far into it just because, I mean, me personally, it just wasn't my passion. I think it was good to know what steps to take. I'm using the social media stuff now, 2 years later, and I just started about 2 months ago, but it's really just about doing stuff, and it really connects. The dots connect after everything happens. And I think this podcast, the reason that I wanted to start it was to, in 10 years from now, when you're a millionaire, when you're successful, when someone's going to ask you how you did it,
Yeah.
and how cool it would be not to just tell them how you did it, but to show them.
Yeah,
to
right.
show them what you were thinking at their age.
Yeah.
And, obviously the legacy part, but again, that's pretty much it. I want to see in 10 years when I have stuff, when I'm in a rut, wherever I may be, I can look back 10 years and kind of see where I was at that time and really maybe get advice from previous Danny.
That's it. So we are currently still in the process of chasing a dream. Now, we don't have it all together. We don't have it all figured out, but it's a to be continued kind of lifestyle. We are putting active faith on certain topics in life and then just running with it because that's what you got to do. Danny bought that Tai Lopez course and we didn't know what to do with it. We didn't know where we were going to be. We were both in and out of school and in and out of chasing a dream of baseball. And really that whole course just fell in our lap and we realized, wow, people are making serious money doing not a lot of stuff. And it was like, okay, how can we get into this? Because obviously both of us, our backgrounds were nowhere near coming from money. It was both humble beginnings, both definitely having to get it out the mud. So seeing that us being 18, 19 years old could possibly put six figures in our pockets in, say, 6 months' time, I mean, who wouldn't sign up for that?
And that's actually a mistake. Kind of looking back at it. So buying that course, I'm glad we did it. It was a mistake in terms of we were looking for something to do just for the money. We were 18. Right. We were working. We just wanted a quick buck, just like every 18-year-old. And obviously, a lot of people talk about this in our day and age. Entrepreneurship. People forget that there's steps to becoming an entrepreneur. There's steps that take 5, 6, 7 years, 8, 10 years. It doesn't just happen in a couple of months. And when you're seeing this stuff on social media, you're seeing 22-year-olds with Lamborghinis in these houses and racking up these views. You want it now. You don't realize there's a lot more ups and downs in that whole process. But buying that course really taught me again. Don't chase after something just because of the money. Because I didn't end up liking what I was doing. I didn't like the editing part of the computer skills. That wasn't me. So now we're doing something more that we love, that you can always grow in sales. You're always trying to get better and grow, and it really goes hands on deck with personal development. But it was it's just better to do something that you really love and can you see yourself doing for a long time.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many different routes that we could have taken, and we just jumped into the first thing that kind of said, hey, this could lead to something, or that could lead to another thing, and once we kind of found out that, man, this social media thing isn't all that it was set out to be. That's when we started veering off and kind of using what we learned to our advantage to make matters better from that course, because I mean, it really talked a lot about marketing, and it was honestly about would you say, like, it was a college degree of marketing in a 7-month course. I mean, I'd say like at least a 2-year degree in marketing in 7 months.
Yeah, Ty gets a lot of crap on social media.
Mastermind course.
I think he did a pretty good job with the course. It was the people he got on, the quality of the content. I thought overall it was a pretty good course.
Absolutely. I mean, you were getting nearly a college education for, it was like $700, and between the two of us, I mean, you split that course, and it's $350 a person to get almost a 2-3 year degree in marketing. So that's where we kind of just drew the line and then got into what we do now, which is I currently do real estate, which is a whole other animal in itself, but it helped me pull keys from this and that and kind of make a turn for the better into a market and a niche that was absolutely thriving. I mean, it was really just, you get thrown into a career, you get thrown into something, and you never know what to expect of it, especially not having any background and not really having anybody on your side that kind of could show you the ropes. We had different things here and there, but as far as me, I didn't have anyone to show the ropes. And what about for you? I mean,
when I fell into health insurance, I got a little lucky in terms of I found an office where it's not a traditional sales culture.
But fast forward a little bit. Fast forward to when you're at T-Mobile and the guy showed up at your office from US Health, or showed up at the T-Mobile store.
Okay, go back a little bit. All right, so I ended up working at T-Mobile from someone I actually met in an MLM group, multi-level marketing group. I started working at T-Mobile, and I was pretty close to potentially getting into life insurance. And I met this guy one night who's from St. Pete. I was in Tampa at the time, and I told him the story. Yeah, I'm actually taking my practicing getting my 214 license, maybe sell life insurance. He's like, dude, well, I sell health insurance, and it's a little bit, life insurance is pretty tough. What I do is pretty cool. It's all virtual presentation. He kind of gave me the runaround about it, and ended up meeting his boss in Sarasota. Went out, checked the office out, fell in love with the environment. It's really different. We're all, you're an independent contractor, so on health insurance, you make your hours. I knew I was going to be working more hours than when I was at T-Mobile, but I knew it was for a greater purpose and a lot more just people wanted to be around. The people there were great. Older people, really just business mindseted.
So for a second, we could pause. And so you went from a stable job at T-Mobile where you were possibly working up the ranks. I mean, you had a vision, you had an opportunity to grow into manager and corporate area manager, different levels. You decided to veer from that and then go in, kind of bet on yourself is what I want to kind of get into, is you bet on yourself to get into this health insurance gig. Is that kind of what happened?
It was a huge bet. I was pretty comfortable at T-Mobile. in my comfort zone, was going up pretty quickly, was about to become a store manager in 9 months, 10 months time, and when this opportunity came, it was a lot more. With sales, it was 100% commission, so I knew I was in from a challenge, but it was I needed to get out of my comfort zone, and that was really an opportunity held to me on a silver platter.
Yeah.
So a
Yeah.
little lucky. I believe that you manifest stuff like that when you're thinking about it, when you're kind of working towards it, stuff like that happens, but also a
Right.
little luck.
Yeah, and handed on a silver platter in a way that prior to all that, we were scrambling with the social media gig. So you could say it was handed on a silver platter, but fast forward a year and a half before that, all that work that we were putting in then kind of led up to that time where we were being held something on a silver platter.
Yeah, we definitely. Nothing's been handed to us, if that's what it sounds like. Nothing's been handed to us. I'm saying that all the work we've done too, when you plant seeds, they harvest eventually.
Yeah.
And that was a seed that was planted way, way before,
Yeah.
years before that ever happened. And it finally came into fruition.
Right, right. And yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, after I left college baseball and kind of got thrown into the real world, as you could say, I was bouncing around. I got a job doing overnight valet that really was as dead end as it could be, but it was kind of paying the bills. It was getting me by. And in the process, one opportunity led to another, and I actually just jumped into real estate. My fiance's dad was working with a company that was thriving, and it was just like, I was like, well, I can tap into real estate, not get with his company, but kind of join Coldwell Banker and get a jump into this career. 85% failure rate, and everybody in the business is failing. Everybody's in it for the wrong reasons. So I said, hey, why not? Give it a shot, be your own boss, make 100 grand. Same thing we were getting into before, but a little bit different. You're dealing with people's lives this time. So I started, let's say about spring 2017, and I kind of got my first sale within about 30 days, and the rest is history. I got my first sale. Then about 2 weeks after that, I get a call from the vice president of sales from Lennar Homes, and he says, "Hey, Hunter, I saw you getting into real estate. Saw you're doing well, and wonder if you want to get a job with us at Lennar." And I was like, "Well, I'm 30 days into this real estate gig, and I'm back to betting on myself because I'm like, wow, in 30 days I got this sale. This is cake. I mean, I'm making a ton of money. I don't need to upgrade anymore because it was another bet. It was joining a company, a corporation, and I jumped into it. I was like, hey, shoot, why not? I mean, what do I have to lose? That's scary.
So what what things at Lennar specifically made you want to switch?
Yeah, I mean, in general real estate, so people have been selling general real estate, I mean, for 150 years. You go to a realtor back in the day, go through a catalog, find a home, whatever. But with a builder, so being with a builder, you get the opportunity to work in a model home, sell new construction, sell the community, not have to be bouncing in your car, driving from community to community, following up, calling expireds for sale by owners. All that stuff is great, but it's a whole nother part of the hustle in real estate. With being with a builder, all you're worrying about is the builder product, the builder community, things like that, which is a lot more structure, which I think being early in real estate is what you need, because you don't need to be your own boss when you're young. You need structure. And that was the biggest thing that I've been able to grasp is being in a structured environment has helped me rather than trying to do everything on my own.
Being in a structured environment under a good boss or leader
Yeah.
is going to be a lot more helpful than being 18, 19, trying to go on your own. I think finding some guidance, a mentor to kind of show you the ropes in business is going to save you a lot of headache.
Yeah, I mean, tap into a mentor a little bit. I mean, what do you recommend? Someone asking for a mentor or getting into a way of business and kind of falling upon a mentor? How do you go about that?
Well, I think I mean, you can always in sales. I mean, I've hired sales coaches in the past to help me with things, so that's kind of, I mean, that'd be a mentor in that way. But really, going up to people who you respect in your industry or in your office or your work, and I think you'll be surprised how open they are to talking about their success, saying, "Hey, I'm getting started off. I want to do. Showing that you're eager and you're enthusiastic about what you're doing, and hey, I want to see if I can ask you a few questions, and really just being a sponge. I think when you're a sponge and people notice that, they're going to be a lot more willing to talk. So, I mean, one of the better sales guys in the office is 50 years old, Charlie Campbell, great salesman. And he treats me like a friend because from day one, I've always been curious in him and asked him a bunch of questions. And he showed that when he tells me something, I soak it in, I listen to it for a few days, and I kind of try to interpret it. And I think when people see that you're taking their advice or trying to use it, I mean, it's going to keep coming.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's getting out of your comfort zone to be that sponge, because everybody that gets into that sales environment, they think they know it all, especially whether it's in insurance or huge in real estate. I mean, every realtor thinks they're the hottest thing in the market. They think they're the best looking, the best smelling, the sweetest talking.
You need to have confidence. It's just you need to, man. You can learn something from it from everyone.
But being too confident too early, that could hurt you, because that mentor, like how you were saying, how you can be a sponge, when all you're doing is running your mouth thinking you run the show, it's hard to be a sponge. It's hard to listen and not take in what you need to take in, because you're too busy saying, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, da, 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 da. I'm busy, I'm super busy. But really, you're not busy because you're not making any money.
And then even with all the internet stuff, with YouTube, every single Ed Milet, Andy Frisella, they all have a bunch of content. Really, it's like being a mentor. They're just not talking to you one-on-one. It's like you're listening to them talking to someone
Right.
else. It's like they're mentoring someone else, and you're sitting from the side listening to it.
Yeah, and that's huge, because that's what I was kind of tapping into, that asking for a mentor. Because I mean, what do? We were in my apartment, and what do? We're watching Gary Vee on TV, and that was our mentor. That was
3 years ago too.
that was before Gary Vee really. Gary Vee probably had like 80,000 subscribers.
He was big, but now it's just everyone.
Everything.
The kids younger and younger are noticing him.
Yeah.
And kids are just coming at that age where it's Gary Vee's cool.
Yeah. But whenever he first started up in the game, I mean, he didn't have a ton of respect because he didn't have that social media base now. So he was just this crazy guy that was kind of acting like a know-it-all, but the things he was saying just hit home.
You're right.
I mean, everything he was
Makes
saying
sense.
with marketing, YouTube, creating content, creating daily vlogs, and just being real with sales and flipping. I mean, no matter what industry that you wanted to jump into, that guy was just putting your mind in a whirlwind. Big time. Man.
Really self-aware guy. Really, not gonna sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard not to respect Gary Vee and what he does. I mean, he's helped me a lot. I'm sure he's helped you, and all the information he's giving out for free.
Yeah.
And he could guys. He could charge a lot of money for what he's doing, and make a lot more. So I don't know. Just take advantage of it. He's I don't know what the average age of the listeners to this podcast is, but he's twice our age. He's been in business as long as we've been alive. Why would I not listen to someone like that?
Right. And even though the market is changing, even though the viewer is changing or the consumer is changing, I mean, everything evolves some way or another. But even in health insurance, I mean, there's a guy, Charlie said, 55 years old, still selling like a madman. You look in real estate, I mean, you got guys in their 50s and 60s killing the game. I mean, putting up numbers you can never see in the builder industry and in the general real estate industry. I mean, it's huge, these type of numbers people are putting up. But if you get caught up in that too early and you start chasing after that check, I mean, it's going to get really, really tough really fast, because you're going to start to realize nobody wants to listen to a young kid rather than a kid that just listens and takes care of business and has a sense of confidence, but not a sense of cockiness, I guess you could say. And another little
nugget that I learned early in sales and in business was your appearance. You had to kind of make your appearance in a way whether you were dressing like a 20-year-old or dressing like a businessman.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
this is something where a lot of people are taught, man, you shouldn't give a fuck. You
Yeah,
shouldn't,
right.
You know, you should dress how you want to dress, and that's good to an extent of not caring about people's opinions. How I think about it is, I'm a businessman, so dress out when I go. I make sure I look, good, decent, approachable. You never know who you're gonna meet. I've met people, business people, in weird places like grocery stores, just odd locations. So I just want to be ready in case my moment comes. Just be prepared. And it's also one of those things where not fake it till you make it, but you really want to. You want to. I mean, you do kind of want to fake it till you make it.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to not take a guy serious that's dressed in a shirt and tie. You know, because I knew that if I was wearing a shirt and tie, I mean, you walk into a guy's got a bomber jacket on with some skinny jeans, or you got a guy with a shirt and tie, and you walk into either buy insurance or buy real estate. Which guy you picking? I mean, regardless of anything, you look at him. You're going with the guy with the shirt and tie.
It's business.
I mean,
you
got 80% chance.
It's business. It's business. I mean,
yeah.
You definitely have to look the part. You have to be an expert in your field.
Absolutely. I mean, back to betting on yourself. What tips would you give to say someone that is just graduating college? They're 21, 22, but they're in the same position that we were in when we were 18, 19.
Experiment. I mean, do you know what you want to do for the rest of your life? Do you know what you want to do right now after college? Experiment some things. Go work at maybe at a restaurant and go get an internship or get a job in business. Just find something and then eventually kind of figure out you narrow it down from there.
But it's hard. I mean, you just went to school for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
You just got a college degree. You're already $100,000 in debt. How are you going to have the time? How do you make time in your life to experiment in a career when you just spent your time partying for 4 years and graduating with a business degree, $100,000 in debt, maybe more, with a $30,000 a year job? I mean, how do you get past that?
I don't know if this podcast is for. I don't know. I don't know if they're entrepreneurs. Are you really a businessman, an entrepreneur? If you went to school for 4 years and are $100,000 in debt?
Yeah.
It's not a really good business move, but if that's the situation, I mean, I think it depends what you went to school for, maybe. And I mean, you went to school, you did that degree for a reason.
Yeah.
What's that reason?
There's a statistic that I saw, and it was 80% of people that graduate with a business degree, so they went to school for 4 years, 80% end up in sales. I mean,
it's funny how that works.
I have no means of a bachelor's degree and nowhere near it. And you're telling me that there's people that have went to school, maybe even longer, maybe they got a master's degree in business and they ended up in sales. I mean, it looks great, but is it harder? Like if someone's a junior in college and they really don't really have any idea what they want to do you say drop what you're doing there and go become an entrepreneur, get into sales, whatever, or finish up that degree and then get into sales? Because it's always good to have that degree, but as an entrepreneur, time is money.
I think it's a hard question. You might as well finish, I think. It depends. It kind of depends just the person, I think, because again, they're already $70,000 deep, 3 years in.
Shoot.
It just kind of depends, but I think sales is a great first job because it's going to teach you communication skills that you're going to use forever. The leadership skills, communication, just sales in general, you're going to use it forever in business.
Yeah.
I mean, really effective communication. It's the groundwork. It's the foundation for your success later down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because the only reason I ask is
it's a lot of our friends that we went to high school with or that were a little bit older than us, they're starting to graduate and they've seen us kind of get tapped into our careers and where we're at now. And they're like, well, what do you do? You know, like, oh, can I jump into that? Or like, I'm like, man, don't do what I'm doing. Like, use your degree because you just went to school for this whole time. Like, don't do what I'm doing. Use your degree, tap into a job that you can get something out of with your degree, and if that doesn't work, I'd say get into sales. But if you graduate with a business degree, I mean, what do you do? I mean, there's not a ton of options other than, I mean, trying to get a job at corporate America, working in Publix in a cubicle.
Getting a job, saving up so that when you do find something you like, you can execute. That way you have 20, 30 grand to start that business, to go to that business venture. You know, save up some money, learn your skills. Gary Vee says it's the 7 to 2. You know, you're working from 9 to 5 job, and from there on to 2 in the morning, midnight. I mean, you're working on your craft.
Yeah.
You're reading into real estate investing. You're reading into stocks. You're doing your homework on e-commerce and drop shipping. Whatever you want to do, you're perfecting your craft.
So would you say that once you graduate, that's just the beginning? Now you're back into real life. You know, you're dealing with people's lives now in whatever career. Whether you want to be a finance manager, all right, you get a finance degree. Now you're dealing with people's lives. You're accounting. You're dealing with people's money. I mean, it's a huge transition, I think, for a lot of kids our age that they don't understand that aspect of actually thinking that it's someone's life, not just an exam, not just a test. It's actually someone's livelihood that you're messing with.
More importantly, you're messing with your name. I mean, your reputation.
Yeah.
Especially getting early into business is
Absolutely.
everything. I mean, you want to be the most reliable, accountable person you know.
Yeah.
You want to make sure when you say something, it means something.
Absolutely.
So, building a good reputation from the get-go is, again, it's just another something that builds a foundation. You're going to meet people that in 10 years that you're meeting now that are going to be helpful for you in some point in your life. And they're going to remember, hey, Danny was that nice dude, the really respectful dude who really was showed up every day to work and put his head down and got to work. And now he's asking for an investment because of something. I don't know, something's going on, real estate, something. Well, they're going to have a lot more trust.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean,
It's the long game.
It's the long game. Beautiful way to put it, the long game. Because who knows where we will be in 10 years. You know, families, married, kids, whatever, investments all over the place.
I mean, who knows? And if you can go back to an old manager, an old coworker that maybe started and ventured off somewhere and go and ask them for whatever it may be. I mean, whatever. And if you can go do that, just know that your reputation carried them. So that taste in their mouth of you from however long ago is still there, and they kind of have that same feeling towards you that they had, whether it was 8-10 years ago.
Yeah, so these are some definitely some good topics to start off on betting on yourself. Do you have any other points you wanted to hit on? Anything in particular?
Have a plan. In sales, we use scripts and for tests you have you have those like practice exams. You need to have some sort of a plan when you're going to bet on yourself. Okay. Know yourself. Be self-aware. Know what you're going to do, and what you're not going to do. Don't lie to we're very easy to lie to ourselves too. Really be real with yourself and figure out, if the decisions you're making are going to impact you in a good way.
It's good. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a huge thing to have a plan and to come into whatever field you're going to jump into and know, hey,
I'm details. I mean, I seen the other day that Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, all these guys are super detail oriented. They eat the same thing for breakfast. They wear a black shirt every day with shorts and jeans because they don't use those type of decisions to impact their bigger decisions that they got to make later on in the day. So those kind of details of having a plan, knowing what to do, what steps to take, those are huge. But yeah, definitely. You got anything else?
No, the first of many. We're gonna be talking a lot about mindset, career choices, what to do with extra money, failure a lot. We're going to make a lot of mistakes. This is not going to. I mean, it's our first podcast ever. We're gonna get better as we go. First probably aren't gonna be too pretty, but when we're in 100 videos deep, 200 deep, same as everything else. Life's a cycle. So we're
That's
gonna come
it.
back to these one day and maybe laugh about it. Hopefully, a lot of subscribers later, just a lot of following later, and really, this is about people. Me and Hunter care about people,
That's it.
and I think people know that, which is why we fit in with business at this age. We have people's interests at heart, and we're willing to do something better for the person than for ourselves.
Absolutely.
So all this is, guys, we're not trying to make a quick buck off this. This is just content.
Yeah.
This is content stuff from we learned. It's not all going to be right. We'd love to hear some feedback and some opinions on this too. But we're just putting out content for what we're living through. And hopefully, one night when you're kind of feeling down and you're an entrepreneur and you don't know where to go, we were there a year, 2 years ago, maybe now. And now you have somewhere to go for some feedback and some information to help you reduce that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that's all we got tonight, guys. Thanks for tuning into the HD podcast, where we keep it real, we keep it raw, and we're here for you. So you guys have a good day or good night, and take care, and we'll hear you in the next
See
one.
y'all.